with just 2 weeks left in the legislative session, we wanted to know, what is the state of education in Connecticut? Well, leaders tell me a heavy focus on homeschool legislation dominated this session and shifted some of the attention away from other priorities. But overall, they say progress has been made.
We walked away from last year's legislative session really disappointed, and I do not feel that way this year.
With 2 weeks left in the legislative session, it's crunch time before the final bell rings.
So the big one right now is 5003. That involves our fair termination statutes.
Advocates like Connecticut Education Association President Kate Diaz are hopeful House Bill 5003 will cross the finish line.
We don't have an impartial opportunity to fight our termination the way the statute is currently written. We appealed to the Board of Ed, and the Board of Ed was a part of the initial decision to terminate.
The bill also impacts workers' comp.
The potential exists for teachers to not be able to access the full workers' compensation package dependent upon intent of an injury. And we argue that intent is really irrelevant. So removing the intent idea, I think, is our goal.
Other areas that are showing progress include paid student teaching and protections for teachers who are terminated.
I did have some concerns about just cause bill, but as it's moving forward, I think many of the superintendent's concerns have been addressed.
The governor mentioned about $170 million being redistributed out of his affordability fund to get some municipal aid to assist in education. We hope that that would roll into our education cost sharing dollars because those are permanent increases.
That bill will help us a great deal because we're certainly looking at underfunding and staffing cuts, etc.
But Fran Rabinowitz, the executive director of the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents, says not everything is making the grade.
We have a ways to go. We have things that need to get better. Certainly equity in funding.
In our disappointment area is the cell phone legislation.
Diaz says a bell-to-bell ban on cell phones is unlikely.
I'm really disappointed that we're not seeing that legislation get picked up and moved. We have over 160 high schools in the state of Connecticut. To have 38 that have a policy. We're definitely going to come back next session and probably have even a bigger conversation about devices in general.
And that's just one thing on the list of topics that will need a retake next session.
I wish we had gotten more in the homeschool bill.
We're very excited to see things like paid student teaching get introduced. I don't think that's going to actually occur this session, but it was a first ask.
And education leaders tell me this session feels like progress was made with more access to lawmakers and a stronger voice in the room and at the policymaking table. But with key issues still unresolved, they say this year's education report card is still incomplete.